Hey, Paul from ISM, another review today. Today we've got a review of Revell's 1144th US Navy landing ship. This is very new on the scene. I think it was released a couple of weeks ago. Not normally my thing. I don't mind 1144th. I've built quite a few in the past and I actually prefer them to 172. Ships, definitely not my cup of tea. I built one in the past and I said never again after that. But just cruising the internet the other night, I spotted this kit and thought, that looks pretty interesting. And then when I spotted there was 9 1144th trucks, tanks, vehicles on there as well, it piqued my interest. Had a look, picked one up cheap off eBay. I think I paid £25 delivered for it, and it was here a couple of days later. It looks great. So a little sneaky peek in the box, and it looks rather good. This is the only Revell kit I currently own. I had a lot of misdealings with them in the past with the kits. Same with Airfix, they tend to rebox older kits, which isn't the greatest way of doing business at all. But they do that, so I've not avoided them, but I haven't really picked any up in the past. This looks great, and it's a brand new kit, new tooling, so hopefully it should be a good quality kit. Fairly cheap at £33, I think the RRP is, or £30. £25 delivered, I got off eBay, it was an absolute bargain. So like I say, it looks an interesting little subject, and even though it's 1144th, it's not small at all, which you'll see in a minute when we head over to the bench. So there we go, we'll head over to the bench, have a look at the kit itself, but first of all, let's have a look at the video. Okay, over on the bench, as you can see, the box art, typical Revell, standard Revell boxes, great box art, love the camo scheme on this one. This is what I'm going to be picking to do eventually, because there's a couple of different colour schemes in there. It's a top opening box, not many of the Revell kits come with this. Whether this is something to start to do with all the kits, probably not, but it's a move away from the side opening ones I do a lot of, which drive me to distraction, because getting your parts in at the side open ones is a nightmare. I absolutely hate them. The typical problem with Revell boxes though, they are quite flimsy. This one did get a bit crushed in the post, as you can see. But I say typical Revell box, typical Revell colours, etc, etc. Now I'm not going to lie, this is the second time I reviewed this, because the first time I accidentally deleted it off my SD card like an idiot. So all the bags are open, so none of it's in bags unfortunately. They were. They're all neatly packaged, they're not anymore. Like I say, second time round, but never mind, you live and learn. So box on one side, if we go to the overhead, you've got built up colour pictures. This is what drew me to this. This is what I seen when I first spotted it on the internet. Camo scheme, the vehicles, the Greyhound, the pickup, the cargo truck, and the Sherman coming out the front there. I think it looks absolutely stunning. This is what drew me to the kit in the first place, and this is what made me buy it. Over here we've got a little bit of information. We've got the colour callouts, which is white red, carmine red, sea green, granite grey, green, olive green, greyish, weird colour, and dark green. Only Revell callouts, and the bugbear of mine, which gets you instructions is a bit, they give the colour callout of the number, the position of the paint, so you've got that. But in the instruction book, rather than giving the callout colour, they give you a letter. So you've got to go back and forth, you can't see what's what. Pain. Absolutely hate that. A little bit of information, it's a new mould. Early stage of construction, 2-piece hull, detailed propulsion system, movable rudder, detailed transport deck, movable front hatches and ramp, 6 authentic 20mm cannons, 6 life rafts, 3 M4 Sherman main battle tanks, 3 M18 Greyhound scout cars, 3 CCKW 353 trucks, display stand, camouflage instructions and decal sets for 4 ships. And that's about it. It's a skill level 5, which reading at the back says difficult models with over 150 parts requiring a very high level of skill. So not one for a beginner, but it shouldn't be too bad to be honest. Side, you've got the kit number 01523 and the skill level. And on the other side we have a little bit of information on the ship, which I'm not going to read. If you want to read that, pause it and have a little read, because there's a little bit of information there on the ship as well. So there you go, I'm going to open it up. Like I say, it's all been opened, it's all been put back in. I didn't even bother putting it back in its bags because I was that annoyed that I deleted it by accident. So we've got instructions, there's a couple of still bag sprues because these are the doubles of the kit. So I'm going to try and arrange these in some sort of order, because the vehicles are all separate, like those. Couple of holes, the sides, etc. At least it's not a huge kit, because I've literally just reviewed the Edward Danger Zone kit. That's only 40 minutes. If I've deleted that, I've been rather annoyed. But that's it. Like I say, a very, very flimsy box. Revell needs to up the game there and sort that out a little bit, because they need to be a bit more substantial, because if they're up on your stash, they get crushed to living hell. Obviously second time around for me, so I know what I'm talking about a little bit more here, hopefully. You've got the two main hull pieces. There's a little bit of flash at the front, just here, nothing major. Quick over with a sanding sponge, I'll get rid of that. Detail's not too bad. It's a little bit bare in places, and there's a little bit of bearing in some of the parts as well. Nothing too drastic, and nothing that would be any problem to remove. But being 1/144th, it's quite hard to get the detail down because it's a compromise of making it bold enough so you can see what it is, to making it small enough so it doesn't look out of scale. So some of the ladders are out of scale, steps through there through the build, or a little bit out of scale, so that's a compromise with it. The fit's not too bad. There is a seam on the front, there's a little bit of a problem. As you can see, a little bit of a seam underneath, and if I spin it around, get it in the right place. Come on, there we go. So there's your seam to deal with. Nothing too drastic, bit of filler, bit of a sand, away you go. The main problem for me was at the front here, where that joins. One overhangs a little bit, it's got a bit of an overbite. So you're going to have to fill that, give it a sand, give it a good clean up to get that right. But it's not too bad. Now overall, you can see this thing, even in 1/144th scale, is huge. It's 43 centimeters long. So it is not a small kit at all. It's going to look very, very impressive when it's built. Especially with all the vehicles on, it's going to look absolutely superb, and that is what drew me to this. Like I say, it's a good substantial vehicle. In real life, when I'm through the stats before, it's 60 meters long. Absolutely huge. It must have been quite an impressive thing to see one of these rocking up on a beach, dropping its bay door, and away everything goes. So absolutely fantastic. I'm not normally a shipbuilder, like I said, and I've got a few techniques to learn and a few weathering sets to buy most probably, but that thing looks absolutely stunning. It really does. Now if we go, this is the actual main cargo deck. So this is where all the vehicles sit. The detail's not bad. There's a little bit of damage on the front of mine just here. That's probably been done in transit or when it was packaged. Buff it out quite easily. There's a bit of ribbing just on there. We've got surface detail all along. Not too bad. We've got raised surface at the edge there, and we've got what is something that looks like maybe it's for the anchor. It's the motor engine to pull that up, as you can see. Like I say, looks almost like a generator. Like I say, because it's 1/144th, to get it in this scale and to show stuff what it is going to be a little bit heavy in places, and things are going to be a little bit out of scale. That's just the drawback of doing it, because this thing at 1/35th, oh my god, I wouldn't even want to think how big it would be. It would be huge. Other parts, we've got a nice bit of detail here. I'm assuming this is the ramp from the front. It's got a bit of indentations in there to depict, I don't know what it depicts, tread plates, and the same here as well, but there's no flash on there. In fact, there's none on that bit whatsoever. You've got some detail on the edges here. You've got doors, which would be in and out the actual inner and outer decks of the ship. Little wheels and hinges depicted again. They're over scale, but who cares? It's 1/144th. It'd be a fun little build. Ladders again, slightly over scale, but it's just one of those things. There's no flash on there. A little bit on the back, but nothing to be worried about at all. It's certainly going to look the part. That's that. And next, I want to keep the vehicle separate. Try and do it the same way I did before. You've got various other parts here. Now these are the spars for the inside of the hull. The strengthening parts. They're marked front and back, so there's no mixing them up whatsoever. So that's a nice little touch. I'm assuming that's part of the ramp from the front. I'm not 100% sure. But again, we've got a few little wispy bits of flash, but nothing drastic. Nothing's going to cause any major problems. You can remove most of it with your fingernail, to be honest. But it's going to go together. Hopefully, fairly trouble-free. It's a brand new tooling. I think it's a couple of weeks old. I literally spotted it cruising the internet one night and spotted it and I thought, oh, that was good. Got it cheap and thought, right, that'll do me. This one, we've got, these will be the display stand parts, which we'll come to the parts in a bit. We've got a bit of plastic that's imitating a bit of chain. Now, you're probably going to be better find some aftermarket and replacing that if anybody does do aftermarket chain in that scale. But for what it is, it's not too bad, to be fair. If you get a pin vison and drill it out a little bit, it'll look 10 times better. It's a possibility, I suppose. You can see it there. It's not too bad. But everything else is trouble-free. Where there are panel lines, it's not too bad. Where there are raised surfaces depicting hoses, pipes, wires, etc., they're not too bad. Like I say, because it's 1/144th, it's difficult to get the detail with keeping something that can be used and glued in position without snapping things off. But I think Revell have done quite a good job. Got parts of the main tower now, the bridge. And again, nice detail in places. The ladders are way over scale, if you look at that there. But like I said, it's tough. We've got a lifeboat, which isn't too bad. We've got masts, a little bit of that flash again, but nothing too drastic. Not too bad at all. Got a bit of a curve on the sprue there. It's been bent in transit, I assume. But yeah, rather than a slight overscale, there's nothing drastic. It's a brand new tool, this, so I wouldn't expect to see any masses of flash. Little bits, wispy bits here and there I can put up with. I haven't seen any indication of release agent, so you shouldn't have any dramas there. I don't wash my kits anyway, so that's not a problem. So not too bad on there. Next up, we've got masts, more ladders, more parts of the bridge, and what have you. There's not much to look at really. I'll just show you quickly. I normally like to have a good chat what's on the sprue. There's not much there, to be fair. Nice texture on this part, which I assume is depicting a fabric of some sort. But again, not too bad. I think once this is built, it's going to look rather impressive. It is going to look really good. More parts to the bridge and the upper surfaces of the ship. And again, nothing to write home about. Again, we've got masts. Different parts of the tower. Steps again, which are, as you can see what I'm saying about overscale. But it's just one of those. I'm hoping to add some crew to this. Because I'll get to the crew in a bit. I think I had 56 crew. 4 crew, 56 other people on the ship, so it'd be infantry basically, wouldn't it? People manning the guns and what have you. So I'm planning to add that, add a bit more visual interest to it. Next part, we've got the anchor, the propellers. The anchor's not bad. The propellers are pretty good actually, considering they're quite thin, they're not too thick. If it was me, I'd probably thin the edges with a sanding stick to make it look a bit more sharp. Whether there's aftermarket stuff out there in 1/144th, I'm not 100% sure of. Maybe there is, and if there is, some of it may be worth looking at, so you can add a bit more detail to it. Obviously, this has got railings all around the edge, which we'll get to in a little bit, which is depicted by the cotton. Obviously, people are going to go to town with aftermarket sets soon, and they'll replace all those railings with photo etch, which will make it look 10 times better than it is. But for now, because it's a fairly new kit, I don't think there's anything else out there. Last few sprues, this is a double, so we've got one package there, this is identical. What we got in here, we've got the other part of the display stand here, which goes on those two from before. One machine is more parts of the control tower. I think one of these isn't used, from what I remember from before. And we've got loads of other tiny little parts, little masts, poles, all sorts of stuff there. And these are some of the smallest parts I've seen so far. And there is not a hint of any flash on there whatsoever. I can't see anything on the actual parts. There's a little bit on the sprue. I can't see anything anywhere, so fair enough. New kit, it's actually looking rather good, to be honest. Like I say, two of these, one's the part of the display stand, the rest of it are part of the ship, and some of these parts are really small and they are very well moulded, so well done Revell. Nice to see some well moulded parts. Last little actual part of the ship other than the railings, and we've got a life raft, another ladder, more railings, bit of weird flash there, and you can see this, there's a couple of little flappy bits, but like I say, get a nail on them and they're gone, so nothing to be worried about. There's not heaps of it on here. Like I say, I'm not a big fan of Revell and Airfix because the Reeboks are the kits. You buy a kit thinking it's a nice kit because it's in a nice brand new box. You get home and it's an old Matchbox kit from 1970, so I'm not too keen on that. New tools aren't too bad, and some of their newer kits recently, the Spitfire, the 132, the 109, they've been great kits, getting great reviews everywhere. So other than a little bit of wispy flash here and there, I haven't really seen any problems with the actual ship parts. Now onto the vehicles. We've got 3 sets of these, so you get 2 sprues and there's 3 sets, so we'll put those to one side. So you get 9 vehicles in total, 3 of each. We deal with the ship parts first. These, I think there's going to be well over 120 of these at my last count. Or all the railing, bollards, pillars. So each one of these goes all around the ship, and you use that to create your railing as you go around. Again, tiny little parts. You're going to need a little bit of cleanup because of all the sprue gates on them. Sorry, drop it. But there's no flash on there. They're all fairly well made. Again, maybe a little bit of our scale, but no problem there at all. Like I say, hopefully in the future, aftermarket people will start producing kits for this. Maybe Edward will do one. Maybe do a big etch set for it. That'd be fantastic. If they do that, I'll buy it for it. And it'll update some of these rather our scale bits and replace them with photo etch, which will look a lot better. So there's that. Onto the vehicles themselves. So you've got the Sherman, the Greyhound, and the cargo truck as well. A couple of life rafts, the 50 cals, which are massively out of scale, but still gonna look quite good on top of the Sherman. You could probably thin down the barrel a little bit, which is what I probably do. But the vehicles themselves, there's the Greyhound. So there's the upper hull of the Greyhound. It's not too bad. There is some detail there. You've got the lower hull to the Greyhound. Again, you're not going to see underneath it anyway, so it's not much to look at. The wheels are quite nice. There's tread patterns there. So they're going to look quite good, detailed up. You've got the Sherman. There's the turret. Just there, which isn't too bad at all. It's quite cute. The barrel's a bit bent because of the way it's been moulded on the sprue. But you can easily straighten that up. Not a problem at all. Sherman lower hull. Again, you're not going to see underneath it, so it's not a problem. And there's the actual lower hull of the Sherman there. Quite a lot of detail on there, to be fair. For 1/144th, it's not too bad. I know there's a company out there doing white metal 1/144 Shermans, tanks, etc, etc. So if you're not happy with these, you can always upgrade them and get something. Well, they might not be better. We'll have to see. I know Rich, one of the guys from ISM, has bought a few of them lately, so he'll let me know on this. You've got the cargo front of the truck, which is quite nice again. It's got bonnet hinges, headlights, seats, etc. And then what is rather nice, and I'm very well impressed, is the tracks for the Sherman. You got the bogies, and the tracks themselves, sorry, a little bit out of shot there, are very well detailed, and they look rather good. Quite impressed by that. And that's about it vehicle wise, I think. So yeah, you get 3 Shermans, 3 Greyhounds, 3 cargo trucks, and like I say, the little 50 cals are there. They are at scale, but if you thin the barrel down a little bit, they'll probably look a bit better. Oh, sorry, and there's the chassis for the cargo truck as well. So I'm quite impressed by the vehicles. They're going to look rather good, painted up. You're going to, you know, this build's going to take quite a while. It's not going to be a quick build. It is going to take you a few weeks to do, and it is rather big at 43 centimeters. You've got your thread here for the railings. Obviously, you use this. It's not going to look too bad. If it was me, I'd probably ditch this in favour of Easy Line, just so you get the elasticated effect. So if you wrap it round the railing, you can keep it taut, rather than this, where you're going to have to try and glue it every step of the way to stop it falling off. But hopefully, like I say, the aftermarket people will start producing stuff for this and it'll look a lot better. So that's that. That's the cotton to get. Instructions, we've got a little bit of information on the front. Again, I'm not going to read it. If you want to read it, pause it, have a little look. So there's the top. There's the bottom part. I'll read the bottom part off now because it's got some quite interesting stuff on it. There's the picture that drew me to buy this kit in the first place, because I think it looks absolutely brilliant. There you go. Right, so technical data. 62.06 meters long, so 203 foot, so a big ship. 10 meters wide, which is 34 feet 6 inches wide. 6 foot 2 inch bow, and a 8 foot 6 inch stern. Maximum displacement was 1,095 tons. Payload was 165 tons. Engines, 2 diesel engines, each developing 1,059 kilowatts, which is 1,440 brake horsepower. Maximum speed was 13.2 knots, which I think is about 12 mile an hour off the top of my head. Crew was 4 officers and 54 other ranks, so a lot of crew on there. And its armament was 6 20mm, I'm not even going to try and say that word, cannons, which are depicted bow, stern, and each side, starboard and port there. So a fair bit of armament on it there, and obviously if you've got other crew on there, they'd have small arms as well. Typical Revell instructions are not attached together, which drives me insane. Got you before you start about not chopping your fingers off and using them as, I don't know, turrets on stuff, how to cut things off, glue things together at the bottom, all basic stuff that you know. You've got your symbols used, so these are all the keys for all the symbols used throughout the instructions, which is handy to get because they don't all give you them. biggest bugbear of mine, like I said before, is the paint call outs. Like letter E is olive grunt 361. Why not just put olive grunt 361? Just give the paint code rather than a letter, because every time you see a paint code near the back or at the front where you're halfway through, you've got to come back to look, oh, it's olive grunt, or cut it out, stick it up. I really do not like that at all, the way they do that, but that's Revell for you. Only Revell call outs, obviously, because of the Revell kit, which is fair enough to them, and the sprue layout. So if you can't find a part, quick look at this, away you go, easy to do. Sprue total, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, so 20 sprues in total. So not a massive amount of stuff, but enough to keep you busy. And I think, to be honest, the build of this isn't going to be too difficult. The painting, depending on which scheme you go for, is going to be quite technical. It's the weathering on this that's really going to put it apart from everything else. That's where it's going to show your skills. Typical Revell decals, not too busy, not too complicated, fairly clear where all the parts go. All the colour key, the keys are there for what to do, taping it, holding it, leave it for a certain amount of time. So you can't really go wrong with the instructions. They are quite simple. They're a little bit oversimplified in my opinion, but that's by the by. You've got numerous drill holes to mark, they're all clearly defined. And you're not really going to have any problem building this, to be honest. Like I said, I think it's going to be a simple build. It's just going to come down to your paintwork and your weathering, as I said before. There's that chain, we depicted before, which is for the anchor. I was wrong about what that thing was, because I got no idea what that little housing was. I pointed that before. But again, that'll be something I'll be thinking of either drilling out or replacing if possible. Like I say, it looks just a nice, easy, simple build. There's just going to be, shouldn't be too much of drama at all. The vehicles don't look too complex to build. There's 7 steps to the Sherman. Probably about the same for the Greyhound. A bit more complex on the cargo truck, but they're not going to be much of a drama. Cargo truck, in my opinion, I'd add stowage to that. I'd put a tarpaulin over it, depicting the stuff in the back. Because as far as I'd be aware, they wouldn't be empty. If they were hitting the shore, they'd be full of everything. Supplies, a lot, troops, everything. And then you're onto all these bollards for the railings all around. And at rough count, there's about 120. So they're going to keep you busy for a while. Quite simple. Onto the colour scheme after this lot. This is the last lot, showing the rigging for the railings. So it's twice round, knotting it off. I can see a few of those getting snapped off as you go, but that's by the by. 4 decal schemes, which we'll get to the decals in a minute. I've got them here. You got USS LSM 14 from the Pacific in 1944. Just your basic grey colour, dark and light grey top and bottom. So in my opinion, it's quite boring. Same for LSM 133 in the Pacific 44 again, exactly the same. This is what I'm interested in. I'll show you on the back because I can fit it in camera easier. This one's for LSM 201 Pacific 1945. And as you can see, the camo scheme is a lot more interesting. So you've got A, D, B, E, C and F. No idea what the colour are, but off the top of my head, off the box, it's like a green, a brown and a black. So that's going to look quite interesting painted up, and that'll be one of the schemes I choose. Talking about schemes, there you go, that's the instructions anyway. Fairly basic Revell, wish to put a staple in them just to keep them together. Decals, now these are rather nice. It says printed in Italy. Now, whether the cartograph, they just don't put their name on, I don't know, because there's no cartographer in Italy. But they are absolutely lovely little decals. They're nice and flat, as you can see. They don't look too thick. They're all in register. I mean, look at the stars and stripes at the top. That's great. Again, I'm assuming there's companies out there you'll be able to get an actual cloth flag, because I know White Ensign Models does them. And again, depicting which ship you're doing is not going to be too difficult. You're not going to have a lot of decals to do it on either. So not a problem, but they are absolutely lovely looking decals. Rather impressed by them. So you shouldn't have too much of a problem there. And overall, it looks like it's going to be a nice little kit. I say little, it's huge. Love the little vehicles. They're going to be a challenge in themselves to build, paint and weather. I plan to go the whole hog and weather them all up. They're not going to be battered because in my eyes they'll probably just be on the way to being in action, but we'll see what it looks like. But it's a build I'm looking forward to doing. I need to add some ship weathering reference to my library as well as products. and techniques, because I've never weathered a ship. I only built one ship before instead of do one again, but I got drawn into building, well, buying this, and I will build it at some point. So there you go. There's Revell's US Navy landing ship. Hope you like the review. Catch you guys on the forum, and I'll see you all later.